Please pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Let the roll call show everybody's present.
There's no volume on the YouTube deal right now. I was just told.
There's,
I don't know.
it's not, it's just streaming, so there was no volume when it first started, a 30-second delay,
Okay,
so it should come on.
I will let him know. Oh, he said it's going now.
Okay, Ron, you called for this workshop. Would you lead off on WHAM handbook training presentation discussion?
Well, visiting with Justin Schilling, he thought as a new council that it would be good for us to sit down and revisit people's responsibilities and roles and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, we could do that.
Okay, I didn't know what you
Yeah.
meant. This is what you brought up. So
Yeah, yeah. And there's just a couple of videos that I thought we could, they're real short, that might be good refreshers. One of them's actually about this, that especially for Mike and whatnot. And then also as far as, I don't know if it's conflict resolution or what you want to call it, difference of opinions, so that we can move with less turmoil, so to speak, through our business meetings.
Yeah, there's
You know.
there's quite a few videos. There's also, a workshop, but it started January 29th and it ends February or March 5th. So that's for new council and mayors. They also offer a sort of a 2-year, covers
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
With that you can go through. Like boot camp, like I said, that started end of January.
And they've had some issues with that because of COVID.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I'm in favor of taking advantage of WHAM and using where you can.
Yeah. But one of the things that, I don't know where to start, to be honest with you.
Mean on the WHAM handbook?
Yeah, because some of the stuff, the first part of it is, just that we have the towns have the power to sue and be sued, and what an incorporated town and all that kind of is, and forms of government. But here we are, like the office of mayor. Where do you cross over? Where do we pick up? Like if there's a ordinance that says by the governing body, then that includes all of us. Which reminds me, I noticed the other day, and I can bring it up later, there's a part in under administration in it's been in the, I imagine, in the code book forever. It actually says the governing body is the elective legislative officials, which is true, because that includes the mayor. We might want to clean that up and say including the mayor.
Yeah, the governing.
Yeah. It's in two places. It's wrong in one place and it's right in the other one.
I thought I had state statute. I may that there's definition of council,
Yeah.
or definition of mayor, definition
Right.
of governing body.
So the governing body is all of us, is my understanding.
Correct.
And then the videos that I thought were interesting were Open Meetings Act, and oh man, there was several of them there that we could take a look at. Or maybe I'm spinning my wheels. I don't know.
Yeah. In the WHAM handbook, they do have a mistake on the Open Meetings Act. If you
Oh, I didn't even, in here?
in there, yeah.
Oh, I don't know where that is. I've read it.
The whole thing,
Pardon me?
the whole thing.
Yeah, I haven't read.
If you,
Yeah.
by state statute, 16-4 governs open meetings. That's what I presented here.
Yeah.
And if you go down to 16-4-407, conflict of law.
Oh, come on, fingers. Oh, right there. Mhm. Yeah. See, and then what constitutes a public meeting too is something that we need to be aware of. Because any meeting that's duly called, which would be by the mayor or 2 council members, and if there's a quorum present and it's for dissemination of information or to discuss town business, falls under the Open Meetings Act, the Public
Correct.
Meetings Act. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's, yeah, this definition of Article 4 is also what the Wyoming Press Association recognizes as the official
and oh man,
statute.
can't remember the guy's name. Gravelly Voice gives the presentations for the Press Association to governing bodies. I've heard him before. And then executive sessions too, just to revisit that. Like one of the points that he made is, well, it's his opinion, is that there's no such thing as an executive session for personnel, but you can have an executive session for personnel and then list one of the items specifically listed in there. Was his position on that.
Yeah. Have you seen how the governor does executive sessions?
No, I haven't.
Pretty interesting. He just refers to the statute.
Oh, yeah.
He just refers to
Yeah,
the statute.
that's all you have to do. You say
and
per
does not-
whatever.
It does
Yeah.
not put what the discussion is, refers to the statute.
Yeah. So
But
anyway,
he's the governor, so I guess he can do, but
Yeah.
that's how,
Well,
the
yeah,
state
that's-
of Wyoming handles it.
yeah, that's all they need to do, executive session per 16-4-405 or whatever.
But it's, there's,
So
Can't
I'm,
hear back here.
well, then sit right there.
open
Geez, we're
chairs,
not on Zoom, are we?
open chairs. But this is, but I just wanted to make some, clarification. This is,
Yeah, and then I wasn't sure what we can or can't do in this meeting either. When
well,
you had the work session here,
well,
we're not going to deliberate on anything.
we
or
cannot,
make any-
we
Yeah,
cannot deliberate. That's what I put the definition
Yep.
in there.
Yeah,
It does fall under the Open Meeting Act, which we've advertised and we've done all of that. I didn't see any guidance. I did look some for it, but I've been awful busy with other things with the town, so
Mhm.
I devoted quite a bit of time putting stuff together, but I didn't find in state statutes what governs that. If, other than it's a meeting that we.
Oh, yeah.
Other than we
Yeah.
make no votes, make no decisions.
Right.
We discuss problems and things we need to sort out, or however, whatever it may be, and that's my understanding of, the work session. That's why I put that in there. That's what I found.
Sure.
And I know everybody uses work sessions. All forms of government.
Well, my concern is, since we're on this topic, and I don't really know how to approach it, sometimes people say, oh, just stirring up stuff, but it's not really. I'm a real firm believer in the Open Meetings Act going way back into the 70s before it was even refined to the point it is now. And I believe that as much government business as possible should be conducted in front of the public, and that the public has a right to know
Agreed.
what we're doing.
I
Okay.
agree. That's why I like that camera too.
Yep.
But like right now, there's been visiting with Justin, there's another community, and he mentioned, he said they did a land swap, but they actually did like bought and sold. But in the one of their executive sessions, they discussed the sale. And right now that's being challenged, and that'll be found as null and void, because you can't go in to discuss the sale of your property into an executive session. The only thing you can go in there to discuss is selection of a site if it may cause the price to rise. And then there's been other instances where people have said, okay, we're going to select a site, but they were actually approached by someone else, and there's nothing to prove that it could cause the site to rise. And that's just one, that's just real estate.
But that real estate, if there,
Yeah.
if you feel that there's that it can cause the price to rise or
Yeah.
it cause harm to the, basically to the town.
Sure.
And you definitely can discuss that in the executive session.
But it has to be a case of where having it in an open session would indeed have the probability of causing the price to rise. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, when I
But
look
yeah,
at the,
if you discuss on where the town's sitting at financially on a piece of property, that's exactly what will happen. See what I'm saying? Then they're gonna know where we stand. It's like, oh, heck, they can go up to here or they can go down to here. Let's go up to here. We gotta watch those numbers. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
can screw up
for the
town.
selection of a site.
Sure. You got to be careful that you don't cause harm to the town.
Oh, I
That's
agree.
that's all of our duties.
Well, I agree.
Okay.
And then one of the other things, I had asked for a copy of the minutes, and I wasn't going to bring this up earlier because it just looks like a sore loser. But I interviewed, as did, well, he's not here, Jordan Whitener for that vacant position. And that whole meeting falls under the Open Meetings Act as far as being advertised, et cetera. And then at that meeting, you cannot deliberate on the candidates or make a decision. See what I'm saying? And there was no minutes or anything of it. And then if a guy wanted to push come to shove, the problems that you can get into if you're not really, really careful is what you decided or the action you took can be declared null and void. So like, I'm still having a personal issue with like, how do I resolve that? Because I believe that was an illegal meeting. plain and simple.
Wasn't the selection made in open meeting?
It was discussed in the other meeting. The other meeting has no minutes. It was not advertised. It was not advertised as open to the public. The meeting where you interviewed those candidates is illegal, period. End of conversation. And I do not know exactly how to approach that because I want it resolved at the lowest possible level, as does the district court judge. He won't hear it until we make an attempt to resolve that. And then we get into this whole thing of, well, with executive sessions, it's confidential information. That doesn't, I think the town has had executive sessions over real estate that did not meet this, because there's no way you need 8 meetings to select a site. That's my personal opinion. And I am so legalistic to a fault, like I mentioned the other day. I think the public has the right to know. There's just and I can just start with the first one. I need to know, what was that, a legal meeting? It was called. It's called by the mayor. There was a quorum there.
In my opinion, any executive session I've been involved with has all been legal.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this other meeting.
What?
The meeting where they interviewed the candidates for the
I wasn't
vacancy.
involved with that.
You didn't call that meeting?
I excused myself.
Did you call the meeting?
I excused myself from the meeting. I had no involvement in that meeting.
I guess she's asked who called the meeting.
Pardon me?
Pardon? I said that I.
Somebody called
No,
a meeting.
No, I asked the question, who, I mean, I wasn't there, but who called the meeting? Or did you guys just show up?
I didn't, I excused myself from that meeting because I felt that the mayor was excluded. I
Mhm.
may have been right or wrong on that, but I felt the mayor was excluded from that selection.
And you
So,
told me as much.
yeah, so I excused myself from the meeting.
Yeah, my point is it was a duly called meeting, so it falls under the Open Meetings Act. And if you sat there and discussed or made any promise or said, I'm going to vote for so-and-so, or I want so-and-so, then you can't do that, and there's no minutes. The whole meeting was
It
this
may have
was in
been,
violation of this act.
it's probably been done like that for years. And may have been a mistake for years, but I'm.
Well, that's like saying people have been driving through
No, but
Shoshoni for
I'm
years.
I'm just
Jake
saying
breaks.
there was no ill intent or anything done intentionally illegal, I know, by anybody.
Well, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to protect the town
Sure.
because you have a thing called strict liability laws. And if you have a strict liability law, what that means is intent has nothing to do with it. You did it or you didn't. And some of this stuff could be
Well,
interpreted as,
I'm sure if there's any of this stuff that needs to be corrected, we'll move forward to be corrected. But I mean, if you feel you've been harmed with that, do what you need to do, Councilman Ankeny.
well, it's not a matter of my having hurt feelers. It's a matter of, that's an example of being careful of the Open Meetings Act. But wow, I find it hard to believe that every executive session that you had for real estate had to do with choosing a site. I really find that hard to believe, and that if that had been done in public, that value would have gone up. I also find it hard to believe that you didn't discuss sale of town property in an executive session. I'm not trying to just, what I'm saying is there's too damn many executive sessions.
Is there a limit on
They're being abused. Now, we can
them?
resolve
No,
it this
wait,
way.
how can you say that? How can you say they're being abused?
You weren't there.
Executive session is for a reason and you weren't there.
That's
You
right.
were not there.
So the way I look at it is you're stirring the pot again. And what are you bringing to the
You-
table?
you-
I'm making this town move forward.
You will get a deposition. Is this being recorded?
It is.
Very good.
Go ahead. I don't care. It
I
doesn't
can't
matter.
resolve it locally. We'll go ahead.
I don't know what you're asking. I don't know what you're saying. I
That the
don't know what you're
community,
trying to
people have a
resolve. I
right
said
to
if we're
know.
making any mistakes, we will correct them. That is what I've said.
I'm
And then
sure
you
if you
said
go
you
back
haven't
and
made
dig
any.
on any council, there's going to be a mistake here and there that's been done. Yes, we try and work on it. We try and correct it. We don't sit there and, well, let's get the town set.
And to my knowledge, and I'm sure I didn't have, to my knowledge, all of our executive sessions that we held concerning land was justified, and we were discussing many things about this.
Is it all history? What I'm saying is it's all history. Everything that you did there is already history, right?
I'm saying to my knowledge, we did nothing wrong.
How about you ask the judge, and they'll do it, it won't cost anything, to release those minutes so that the minutes are public information.
Well, by court order, I believe that can be
Yeah.
done.
Hey, Bob, you were at, when we did that, when we were interviewing the candidates, do you feel like we did something wrong? You were there. I mean,
It was, when I was appointed back 3 years ago,
Mhm.
we did the same procedure. I know people were interviewed
Mhm.
before and after me. The mayor was not there, Scott Peters.
Mhm.
The other councilmen members were.
Mhm.
And then I left and,
So basically handled the same way.
yes,
Thank you.
and so that's past experience.
Well,
But I
Scott,
did not know it was legal or not.
Scott Peters
I'll buy
was
that.
there.
I need to check my notes.
Yeah, he was there. I was there. Scott Peters was there, led the
He was
meeting.
there when I was there, and
Yeah.
it was at the same
Okay.
time.
Well, then I'll
It was
just
done the
ask,
very same way.
did you discuss the candidates and make a tentative selection?
It was
You can't
after,
discuss a candidate? Then how can you hire anyone?
You do it the next meeting, you do it in open session.
The public doesn't get to sit in on the interviews?
You're
They
supposed to be
can.
able to.
because you have a quorum, because 3 or more
Sure.
governing body members were meeting together for town business. That is considered a quorum.
I don't think anybody showed up, did they, Bob? I don't remember.
But that doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying, I don't remember anybody showing
Okay.
up.
So because we had a quorum, it should have been a public meeting
Mhm.
and announced as a public meeting, inviting the public to come and listen to the candidates' answers that were given.
This is a sample, is what I'm using here. Did you discuss the candidates and say, well, I want so-and-so, or I'm going to vote for so-and-so, or did you say, let's call so-and-so up because that's going to be the guy? Showed up at the next meeting
You show up at the next
before
meeting,
you ever swore anybody in.
Right. There's no public discussion. When that council member was appointed.
So you just knew that you should call Jake and he should come up,
Right,
but you didn't discuss it after the interviews.
no, we did.
That's my point.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I believe we've gotten off topic.
Sure, let's get back on one.
That's what we're, I don't see that anywhere in our topic.
Yeah, actually it is.
Rules of order, participation expectations, what were you asking there?
What we're going to adopt, it's in the state law that we have to adopt. It's in chapter 15, whatever the heck it is. Bob might have it. It's a legal requirement that we adopt some kind of rule of, the rules of order that we're going to use. And Robert's Rules of Order can just absolutely just be a pain in the neck because you can get bogged down in the minutia of it and people can use it to roadblock progress. But on the flip side, as I look at samples that other communities have, they'll adopt like mainly just how to make a motion, point of order, keep things on track, stuff like that. But Robert's Rules of Order itself, the chairperson, the mayor, whomever it may be, can always relax those. But the big fear that most communities have is somebody trying to use those rules to just bog everything down and bring it to a standstill. But it's still built in there where the mayor can say, no, we're going to relax them. But I know that we're required by law to adopt something. I thought it might make meetings run smoother.
So as we relax the terminology that so when you said that the other night, is that the appropriate way? Say, I'd like to relax the rules for
Yeah.
this, whatever, that's the.
Yeah, or suspend the rules. Yeah. Just see, we ran off the other night and had a motion on the table.
Yeah.
Oops, might have to do some housekeeping on that.
15-105 talks about meetings. That's what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I'm half deaf.
15-1-105
It
talks
could be. I
about
didn't-
governing bodies, meetings, quorums, executive sessions.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere that we're
Yeah.
required to
I'm looking
adopt.
at 16-3-103, adoption of rules. This is the way I'm handling chapter 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they tell you to be sure to adopt those.
And it covers the next 4 pages. Well, yeah, contested cases.
I mean, it's something we have to do, and I thought it might make meetings run a little smoother.
There's nothing current.
No, there's nothing in our ordinance.
in
And
the
state
town.
statute says you adopt your own. They don't tell you what to
So
do.
nothing's been adopted in the previous decades.
No,
Not officially.
not in my knowledge.
I think it's how Scott Peters
15-1106.
said it was Robert's Rules of Order relaxed.
103. I'm on page 5 of chapter 15.
Double check that, the state statute, make sure we're not missing anything, make sure we don't have a. I'm looking at 15-1106. Now you're looking at which?
On page 5 of chapter 15 in the WAM handbook. It says rules, adoption of rules. This is in general, the Act 16-3-103A provides.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, Ron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Not,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Chris was working on a ordinance for that. Cause see, what some places will do is they'll make an ordinance and then you vote it down. Well, you discuss it and then vote it down. But I didn't know if we can discuss what we want in there rather than just me throw one out there and then they can have it, bring it up for discussion and then amend it from there. I didn't know.
How we've been handled, you get first, second, and you get into discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's standard
You're right.
procedure.
But I didn't know if there was something that maybe tonight somebody might say, well, let's throw something in there. If not, we'll just discuss it when it comes to the floor. It's quiet.
So if we adopt something like the rule book, then does it become our obligation to study up on that? And
No, you get a cheat sheet, because really the only part of it we'd ever use is like to make a motion and then how it's going to be discussed and how much, and then when you can amend it.
so I saw that sheet, so it gives your guidelines as far as it's how to, it's some enunciation of words. You got to say this to mean that.
Yes, that's.
Does it kind of, if you adopt something like that, become a technicality, kind of like what you're talking about right now? Somebody who knows the law better comes back to a meeting and says, well, according to your Robert's rules that you adopted, you did such and such wrong.
Nah, that's, no, you don't need to ever worry about that. It's just for orderly conduct of a meeting. That's what it's for.
And we have an established what we've been following. Pretty
Oh,
much the
I
same.
haven't seen it.
No, it's the same, pretty much the same order we've been, following for years.
Where is it?
It's, you get it, you get it in your, or your agenda, which we're not even required to publish an agenda, but, we do because that gives you an order of how things should be handled.
That's how things are handled in order.
Yeah.
And I feel we're talking about how we discuss them and move them through the agenda.
Yes.
So we have action items.
Okay.
We have action items that we vote on. And we go through our discussion. Are we missing something on discussion?
Well, the thing is, I don't remember if it was Title 15 or 16, the word that's used in there is shall. Shall adopt rules of order. I saw that and I'm going like, oh, shall means like, do it.
But as I said before, I had no problem with that. So. Anything else on that?
No, that
Okay.
was-
Yeah, I've looked at many municipalities on how they do that. What's the way the school board does that. So,
Because I mean, we're going to have to get control of these meetings because we're going to disagree on stuff. I think that all business, whenever possible, needs to be in the public view and that they're entitled to know that and they're entitled to know when we screw up. Councilman Weaver says I'm just stirring up more trouble. And it's like, I guess wanting to follow the law, if that makes me a troublemaker, then I'm just going to have to wear the damn
I
sign
don't
on
mind
my
if
back.
you want to follow law. I'm great with that. I want to be on the law too. I mean, I don't want to do anything wrong. I'm chomping at the bit for someone to come up with someone that pushes the town forward and not just keep looking back or trying to stop. It hasn't happened one time. Not
Well,
once.
Well, I mean, since it's just a work session.
I know, but I'm just saying in general, it has
yeah.
not happened. Not
Yeah.
one thing. Everything that's been
I
going
think
on.
what the disagreement is fundamentally is, I don't know how Mike feels, but I'm all in favor of what I've said time and time again and in the past is we take care of the critical infrastructure that people can't see. We take care of the sewers and all that stuff before we go to the stuff that people can see. Well, people can't see that the town's moving forward if it's underneath a street, but they can see if it's in a park. And it's not, I'm not trying to drag the town backwards. What I'm saying is let's do the best with what we have before we go get more.
Well, I guess,
And I'm being perceived as being negative as far as advancement.
well, with economic development, we can work on more sewers. At a better cost to the town.
Yeah.
So, but when we brought that up in previous meetings, it was still, let's try and stop this thing. Even though in clear, he made it perfectly clear on the costs of what it's going to be without doing economic development for a grant, where if we can get the grant for economic development, how we can tie other sewers into it. So to me, you're getting what you're asking for.
On the expansion.
But going
Does
down
nothing
Maple
for
too.
the other 1/3.
Okay, but there's no grants for that are real good right now. So why do we just stop and do nothing
Oh,
until
no,
those
no.
come up?
But I mean, I'm not trying to drag anything backwards. As far as if I'm making trouble up for people, I'll just take that on the monkey on my own back. Because I have strong feelings about so damn many executive sessions. I really do, unless it's personnel. Then after I got to reading, hell, the last one we had was to discuss a position. And I'm going to object to that at the next meeting, because on retrospect, that was an illegal session because it's a structuring thing. It's like, do we want to add this position? Do we want to divide that position? That has to be discussed in the open. And I guess if I'm the odd man out on that, that's just the way it's going to be. So we can move forward.
Well, I'm sure none of us knowingly did anything wrong. There may be a difference of opinion, but I'm sure none of us knowingly did anything wrong. That I can say.
That's kind of what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's what I'm
To
saying.
be honest
None of
with
us
you,
knowingly done anything
Yeah.
wrong.
that's what I want to hear.
Joel,
And that's what the public needs to hear.
yes, then the public is very proud of that new park, the things that are going on. It's made such a difference in the people's attitude in this town. Just something that's been done. that
I
we
agree.
can see.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, we know infrastructure, but like you said, we can't see that. But that new park and some of the things that have been done are just wonderful for the attitude of the town.
In fact, I made that remark at Meet the Candidates, that whether I like the park or not, it's there, it's moving forward. You don't torpedo it. we need to get some grass in there and we need to get
Oh,
some
it's coming.
sprinklers in there and we need to, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Just any improvement, this town had just gone through.
Well, I'm hoping let's just sitting here talking this out, like kind of people see where other people are coming from. So that it doesn't flare up in a public
I
meeting.
think we may have bled in the public information and confidentiality.
Oh, that's, yeah, that's what that was about. I actually, what I meant by that was open meetings,
You know, that's
people's right to know.
I have tried not to be a real strict shepherd. Maybe I should be, and I can be. If that is desired. I may have been a little liberal on allowing, but I've been trying to allow the public to
Mhm.
comment and things to get discussed openly without trying to, that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
do as mayor. I'm not intentionally done anything immoral, illegal on that. And I think on our current system, I have a little leeway in actually doing that. It's just like when you brought up the special meetings and stuff like that, I said, fine. We don't have to do it that way. If you want to, we can. You know, and that's,
What I would like to see in the future is when somebody makes you entertain a motion to go into executive session for whatever. And then somebody seconds that to make that a debatable motion like it is in Robert's Rules of Order. So somebody can say, now we're all sure we're good to go on this, right? So that you get it out in front of the public, like, yeah, we're good to go on this. And then if somebody has a question like, can we do this? You
and
know,
you go into discussion.
pardon
You
me?
get a motion, you get a second, you go into discussion.
Yeah.
And you can bring that at that time, if you have any doubt, bring it up. Are we talking about the right thing?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the mechanism's already there.
Yeah, but we haven't
And
been,
if you doubt that, it's your duty to
right.
bring it up.
We haven't been doing a discussion on it though. First, second, go into session.
See, I have that problem because we have this executive session that says personnel of the land. And I don't have enough background other than what's on the agenda to say, this is what we're gonna be talking about in that executive session. What piece of land or what position? And so you're right, we need that discussion prior to.
If we get into executive, there's things you probably can't talk about
Mhm.
before you get there. You get into executive session, if you feel the executive session that we should not be in executive session, then you should bring it up that we're off, we can't talk about this in executive session. We need to talk about it in the public. And that can happen in any meeting. Everybody has that opportunity and duty, if you will. If
Mhm.
you think that we're outside where we should be talking, you actually should bring it up in the executive session that says we need to go back out into open session to discuss this because this does not qualify. And then we could have that discussion and however that works out. We come back out, we talk about, you may bring up a good point. You are right. We should not be talking about this here. Out we go. And that avoids that. That's how that should be handled.
Sure.
Anybody object to that?
No, I agree.
Well-
Those are already in place. Well, those already are in place.
Well, what I
And
I guess I don't see 'em as
anytime
being
there's a
in
second,
place.
everybody has a right to go into discussion.
Sure.
That's how we've been operating. That's it. And this I presented you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
No, I just
so
think, yeah, we can move on, but I just want to, I just
okay,
like,
no problem.
if it's like executive session for personnel to discuss salaries. Get a motion, second on the motion, any discussion? None, let's go. Or if somebody wants to say whatever, or executive session to hear a complaint, or executive session to be more specific so that the community knows what we're doing.
Sure.
is where I'm coming from.
But
And I don't know that that's unreasonable.
Yeah. If you need to get more descriptive, all you gotta, if it's not clear enough for you, please bring it up and say
Sure.
what you want to hear. I told you how the governor handles it. though.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
There you see his executive sessions. I have. They go in executive session, they just state the statute and they go.
Wow.
No, that's,
Because that's not
go
the,
go
rec-
archive some of them,
Yeah.
see what they call for executive session.
well, I'm going with the recommendations from WAM and from the Press Association.
Sure.
This, when. There, I'm happy. Did you think you'd ever hear that? Oh, I keep forgetting this is being recorded.
Sure.
As far as do you have any questions, Mike, as a new person, as to what falls?
Very,
with-
it's very informative. I think my brain kind of has this, well, we're doing everything that we think is right. But I kind of feel like I feel like I could use that reason, or anybody could use this reason, just claim they didn't know. So what I'm kind of sensing is there an accountability or not an accountability? If
What?
something's been done wrong unknowingly, that's okay. But just because you don't see the sign that was in front of you doesn't mean you don't get your ticket. So I said,
Yeah, I'm just like I've mentioned before, I'm just anal, I guess, about accountability and transparency.
I think it's good that it's clear out there on the table that if we're in an executive session and someone doesn't like it, they just call me, say, no, we're going off track and so on and so forth. I have no issue with that. At least that reaffirms of what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like something, then right, say, hey, this is over, same for me. If I don't like something, I'm gone.
Well, Joel did, oh, never mind. That was pretty close, wasn't it?
But anyway, that, I don't know what it's, like I said.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. There's nothing. I have no issues with that. What we should do. We were told by our consultant that's did our, our roadway to success, or doing our master plan, that we were one of the, if not the most transparent community of this size that he'd ever seen. That's exactly what he said.
Well, I think just like I said, getting that
You
camera
bet.
here, that's the best thing that could be done, because now people can't come to this meeting and say, hey, I was at this meeting. This is what happened, and they interpret it different than what happened. That's how rumors start. Now with this thing, now we have it on our YouTube channel. We can share it here and share it here. Now people are starting to realize, hey, let's put it on Facebook. Let's really get it out there. That way, someone can't come in here and say, hey, this is what's going on over there, and they're full of crap.
Well, I'm just wanting to take that
I
next.
absolutely
like it.
love it. The mayor's monthly letter. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
I wish you could do it every freaking day.
See, being transparent with what you do out here, but I just want to go that one step further, where we're letting people know precisely why we're back there, and that we all agree that that's the appropriate thing to do.
I got no
Yes,
problem with that.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
I got no problem with that.
we killed
We're not doing it
we
with
killed
the
about
governor.
5 of those things right there.
Chris, are you one of the 1 cent? Well, I guess, what's your questions about that, Ron? Do you still have questions? Or?
We met and it was a reading comprehension issue.
So I put it on there because that was original, so I just put it on there, but I think we already.
Oh, yeah.
That's all squared away more. all
Yeah,
good.
it was
There's
there's,
a combination of 1 cent and capital projects.
Sure.
all bundled together.
The way it put on the form, it looks, so.
Well, for
Okay.
whatever reason, somebody has a burr under their saddle and they have us under scrutiny on our 1% money. And you're probably aware of that, and they're spreading all kinds of crap around. So I was just saying, let's be really vigilant about how we handle that. I mean, I think I was the last one to find out.
It's sort of like in the public meetings, you go to 15 dash whatever, It's right in the right in the ordinance. But you go to 16-4 and it says, well, that isn't any good. This is the one you go by.
What was the bottom line number on that for those things combined, 100 and some?
223 and the 1% is 104,000.
Yeah, it was like, we wish we had a quarter
Yeah,
million
I wish
dollars
we
in
got that
optional.
much. You know, we just don't have the
1%.
population to get that much, but,
Yeah,
and that's, as I guess I'll fill in for the workshop, Councilman Ankeny and I talked about going into the budget, actually having a declaration of what 1% will be spent on going into the budget. And that way it's clear, it's out there, and there's no ambiguity, and splitting those two, that one line item into two, so there's not that confusion in the future. Is kind of what we discussed.
yeah. Because I mean, I was approached by somebody that says, well, what's this about Shoshone buying grass seeds and everything else or whatever with optional 1% money? And I'm going like, what are you talking about? And then I even had a county commissioner said he's hearing the same thing. And so, that's, the rumor mill. And so let's be careful of it.
Yeah, I just got a really big compliment from the county commissioner to all the progress we're doing in Central Rapid County. Shoshone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's more than one county commissioner on the county commission.
Oh, man. And they are sure diverse.
So I can go to the next one. Mayoral appointees or mayoral appointee appointment process. What can I do for you there? Is that for me?
Yeah, that's from me.
Okay.
Oh, that's from you.
Yes,
Oh,
Okay.
see? The handbook says that you have a right to appoint anybody you want. But there's no process saying how the council can say, we think this citizen would be a good person on this committee. There's no policy, there's no process for that information. I was told, well, you missed your window. You should have talked to me earlier. I'm just saying, that's something we should look at.
Agreed.
I got no issue with that at all.
No, I agree. Yeah, if something, like I said, you came with me 2 weeks, a month, or 2 months before, something like that, brought something up, we could have discussed it, I needed, if we had an appointee, or what I'm gonna look at, do we have someone is having issues, or we got someone that's not doing a good job? Well, sometimes it's hard to get an appointee, to get someone that's willing to do it.
The other part is when I looked at your appointees, you had several people in multiple boards, commissions, whatever you want to call them, committees. And the more people we get involved in our community, in those community boards or whatever you want to call them, the more transparency we are. That way they can say, this is what's going on in our community. They can support and report back to council. But that way, they just get a larger look picture for people to be participating in their government.
We looked for people to join like the shooting range club, the economic, or not club committee, the economic development committee. Asked for volunteers. I didn't appoint anybody. I had asked for volunteers to come to me and ask if they wanted to be on the board and on the committees, and I selected from there.
I don't think the public knows how many committees there are, how many boards, and how people are appointed. I think as a whole, the community is ignorant of that process.
Yeah, we'll try to do better to communicate that.
Or the newsletters.
We'll get it out.
Is your memo for public consumption or is that private?
What memo?
The one where, well, see now if I blurt it out there.
Oh, I don't.
The one where you addressed it, you'd be addressing, where you said you'd address that later on as we move forward. The same thing that Bob's talking about. You sent us an informational thing that said you'd be addressing this as we move forward. Didn't you?
I don't remember exactly what it said. You mean on where I laid out how the appointments and,
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the one.
I don't know why you can't share it.
Yeah, well, I just didn't, because
No, I don't,
It was in there, I think,
that
Bob.
was, you know,
Yeah.
for your information to explain.
well, just for housekeeping, then maybe it doesn't matter. Since we had that,
I don't have that right in front of me.
well, we had that ordinance or whatever it was that the appointments are made by the mayor and approved by the town council or something to that effect. And of course, the town's committed himself now to those folks. It's a little late to go back and try to do anything. But do you want to just leave that sleeping dog lay, or do you want us to approve the things at the next meeting, or what's your pleasure there? Or the council's pleasure?
I think
Might want to just leave it
I
lay.
think we've already approved, have we or not, have we approved all of our appointees?
We didn't actually approve them. I mean, I'm good with just letting the sleeping dog lay, but I didn't know if you wanted to clean that up. That's all.
If we have an appointed next meeting, we will. If I'll go back and see what we did or didn't.
Sure.
appoint.
Mike's gonna fall asleep.
Doubt it.
But you understood where I came from, how I put that.
Oh, yeah.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it was like, let's clean that up and do better in the future is the way I read it.
But if, you know, like what I stated, if someone would have came to me, if I knew if we had an appointee to a board that council was unhappy with, then we definitely have that discussion. I had nobody come to me, said they were unhappy with board members.
Yeah, I think it was more a matter of wanting to throw another name in the hat for consideration
But
than anything.
but they're
I mean,
but that's there again, that's a mayoral appointment.
Yeah.
And you know, if no one approached me. When did Megan approach you?
She did not. I approached her. My thinking is the more people we have involved in government, and you have, as I said earlier, you have some people on multiple boards. Therefore, you get more community involvement. And I thought, should be an excellent person on that board. I did not say whose name she should remove. That was up to you. I said, this is the name I'd like to suggest for that board. That's all I did. And again, I think the community is ignorant how that process is completed.
Well, I had no complaints against the board members, and I asked them would they accept again, and they said they would. That's where I was at. So we'll talk about clean that up.
well, Councilman Zen, I include myself in the ignorant part.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's there.
we'll work on that.
Okay, but that was like I said, it came out of the blue, and if someone brought it up to me, then I would have researched it. Any other questions on mayoral appointees?
I think we should put that down as we look at our policy book and ordinances. After the fiscal year
Yeah,
comes about. So
sure. Yeah, we need to clean up a lot of this stuff. Agreed.
Well, there's merit to both sides of that coin. I applaud Joe for at least managing to fill up a committee.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to get one. I have
You know what I
trouble
mean? Yeah, it's like it's
getting people to volunteer.
Yeah.
And also found out I didn't know it. I'm on that darn Wind River Visitors Council for 3 years.
Ooh, ouch.
I didn't know that. I finally got a copy of their bylaws.
Oh, I thought that was an annual.
It's a 3-year appointment. Anyway. But it's been interesting there.
Well, I have another question, and maybe it's another don't poke the sleeping bear. At the last meeting, I took it as a complaint lodged against Bob Zant, that where he was more or less accused of using his position as a council person to cause damage or harm to another individual, and that's grounds for immediately removal from office and a pretty hefty fine as an ethics violation, what you were accused of doing. So just leave that alone, or do we have to act on it and say
I haven't received a formal complaint stating that.
okay, that was not a formal complaint then, it's the way.
I have not received a formal complaint stating that.
Good, because that's the way I took the way it was voiced. So
So,
everybody has to vent once in a while.
sure. So I have not received a formal complaint.
So what is that? So for clarity, so a formal complaint means something written and
Yes.
delivered, or
I'm not a police officer, but to me, we have a complaint form box we use against employees. That if you don't put it in writing, and you can come and
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. If you don't
Yeah.
put it in writing, sign it.
You answered my question 100%. Thanks.
That's the way I think they should be handled. From
Gotcha.
my perspective.
Good.
That makes sense.
It does.
Okay. I mean,
I didn't know you could beat up on Bob like that and he'd hold his cool. I'd have been doing it years ago.
but town attorney position for discussion. Fiscal year budget status, 21 status. What do you want to know about the county attorney position? I can say I have not received any recommendations or interpretations of laws.
Still have.
I've been told they're very complicated. We need to rewrite our ordinance books. I have actually talked to 2 attorneys because one seemed to get bogged down. The other one is also seemed to get bogged down. I reached out to one attorney that was maybe more municipal experience than it was hard to get an attorney to even look at this without leaving county. Maybe that's what I should have done. Retrospect. Because there's probably some very good people in Jackson that really, I think, are top notch, maybe Casper and Cheyenne maybe. But, I have trouble. I talked to multiple attorneys that wouldn't even touch it. I was hoping I'd have something by now. I do not. I tried to get something today. I did not get it done. I reached out to attorneys, got nothing done. I went to Riverton. I wanted to be able to bring some clarification.
Well, I'm smiling because I know exactly what you're saying. There's a million attorneys out there. Whoa, go somewhere else because they just don't want to.
But
Yeah.
what I'm hearing universally, that we have a very poor, it's pretty poorly written, and it needs to be cleaned up, needs to be more specific than it is. Chris, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, and it takes some time, but part of cleaning it up ourselves would be really cumbersome and take a long time. Outsourcing it out, probably get to somewhere in Washington or California that's trying to do our stuff that's not from Wyoming. Riverton has spoken about agreeing to take a look at maybe helping us and doing a lot of the work for us to go through our policies, our laws, our ordinances, and with their resources they have. So it'd be a local thing. It'd be something in Fremont County, and that's something that would probably end up with a lot better result in the end than trying to do a hodgepodge mentality, trying to go through. And they can go from start to finish and have recommendations and things like that for the council to be able to look at and also help write them and get them prepared for the presentation.
Does WAM offer a service like that too?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really. They'll give you a little guidance on specific questions. They won't.
Yeah.
Because every town be down there, they wouldn't get nothing else.
Oh,
done.
good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can bend there a little of this or a little of that, which I've done, you've done, but yeah, and Rich Guard and Tony Tolstead are just willing to pitch in and help us on many issues. They have the resources.
And they're talking about trying to pull in Hudson Pavilion and Shoshoni to assist with that process to kind of make more a little bit more uniform aspects of things where they do apply. Obviously, some things might be different here than Hudson or Pavilion, but some of the broader ordinances would be more in line, more up to speed. And they just they constantly do ordinance reviews throughout the year, and kind of like we did with the tobacco aspect, that was actually borrowed mostly from Riverton. So a lot of it's been gone under the losing my words here, but been tested, tried and true as far as their ordinances and processes involved with that. So it'd just be a component to help expedite the process, get more uniformity and more clarity in the ordinances instead of trying to do it ourselves, solely by ourselves. Obviously, they're not going to do it for us, but it's just a hand with talking with Tony, the city administrator over there, that they kind of offered.
One of the things we're going to get when we get our master plan, we're going to get some recommendations for part of our ordinances or zoning ordinances and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that's another reason to wait until we get our budget session, get July. We should have our master plan in, and we'll be able to tackle that.
And then as far as the, I believe that part of on the agenda was the budget aspect of the town attorney. So he has two line items, one under court, one under town administration. The one under town administration, his budget was 12,000. There's 7,000 still unspent. So about 38% year to date has been expended. And then the court side, that was 2,000. He's about 50% spent. There's about 966 left in that line item for the court. So there's altogether for the town attorney, there's $8,000 or so that's unallocated to this point.
Did we add any to that town administration from COVID funds? I thought that 12,000 was a little bit high for some reason.
No, that was done during the budget. None of this is COVID. All the COVID funding expenditure side, all the COVID stuff was on the revenue side as far as the budgeting goes. And that was after the budget was set.
Okay.
There was during the budget process, it was more money was allocated to the town attorney for the general administration side for the prospect and belief that he would be utilized a lot in real estate endeavors. And so that's why, but that was during the budget process. That was before the budget was set. Nothing's been changed since then.
Thank you.
I has been resolved too.
Library?
No.
Oh, what?
Or no, BH. H has been, what that was about is, I was visiting with Chris and it's like, what the heck? The job descriptions are and salary ranges are posted before we approved them. And he said, and Chris says, well, they're posted on there so everybody knows what they're about. It's for transparency. It's not that they're not posted on there because we adopted them. That was
Nothing's
just,
went into effect.
No employees have signed them yet.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, nothing was in
So
effect.
that was just a matter of all I had to do is ask.
And I did print those out with the updates that we've
Oh,
discussed,
yeah.
and I did print them out for everybody in the update. If you want them.
So do we, G, we? when
I'll
we
take
get on
one. You took the
library-
time to do it. I'm not going to.
Did we skip that? Okay.
We just H as a result.
Okay,
So if we're going to an MOU with the PALS item,
okay.
what would we want in it? I mean, I'm thinking, they have a refrigerator in the lift. What happens if the refrigerator goes out? How do we resolve those type of things? Does town buy a new fridge or does PALS buy a new fridge?
Well, Powell's would not be obligated to buy a new fridge. We appreciate it. My understanding and I was correct, in my understanding, things were gifted to the library from Powell. That was my understanding. So, but if that's not what, I guess that was not the case, so they're no obligation to replace a refrigerator. If we wanted one, it'd be up to the town. If we couldn't afford one and Powell's wanted to provide one for us, that would be great, but they're under no obligation. Right now, if we drew up an agreement and we wanted to, if they wanted to put wordings in, whatever week, we can negotiate, work things out.
So, do we even need an MOU?
From our perspective, we don't, but if PALS wants one,
Right.
from their perspective. But we've been operating without one, and nothing's changed as far as that's concerned with the property and the aspects of the library. But if they so desire one, we can certainly present it to council to take a look at it.
That's fine with me. I just need, sure, do we want one?
Well, Ambrose does. That's the way I took it, or Pals does.
Yeah, should we spell out?
Her main concern was, like, if the library was ever closed, where
Yes.
would the refrigerator go or something like that?
Well, we can put that in writing. I got no problem with that. Like I said, I didn't know it wasn't the library. I thought the library owned it, but I got no, whatever they want.
Why does the Palace Committee own so much stuff in the library? They were formed, I remember when they were formed to help the library, not to take it over.
Oh, yeah.
I can't answer that question.
That's a
I
good
can't- We
question.
had two people
That was
there
my
at the
understanding.
meeting that said they would bring a refrigerator tomorrow. Well, three people. And I don't understand why the Palace Committee, to help the library, has so much power over it.
Good question.
Because I was under the understanding that the money that went to the house was like from donations or money making projects and stuff like that. That was from,
To help the
To help the
library, not
library.
for them to own it.
And I thought the donations in the library went to the library and not to
Yeah,
Powell's.
we did too.
Well, there's been several members of the community that have stated that too. That
That's not fair, because
That
Gary
they
was,
donated money that they thought was gonna benefit the library. It wasn't for PAL, but to represent PAL.
and Gary can sell ice cubes to Eskimos. And I don't know how much I spend on things to help the library, not the house.
I didn't agree with you. I was thinking,
I'm in the dark.
No,
I think they're legitimate questions that should be answered.
I do, yeah.
I do too.
Maybe a representative should come down and answer this question.
Because otherwise, I would say that when they're selling their raffle tickets or whatever, and people are giving their donation, it's misrepresentation.
Absolutely agree.
Is PALS is that an acronym for something? Just curious.
What is it?
See, I don't even know what it is.
Patrons advocating library services.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
What is it, Gary?
People advocating libraries.
Oh, I thought it
There
was
you go.
patrons. Okay.
Close.
Close enough.
Patrons are people too.
People.
They
There you
are.
go.
Yeah, you could advocate it, not be a patron, you could be just a people. People's more inclusive, correct? Yeah, includes everybody.
Sorry, Gary.
I'm
And-
not saying it's Gary's fault, he's
Oh,
just
no.
a good salesman. But I'm always under the condition that it's for the library, not for the palace.
That'd be a good question. Even if they're not here, they could address it via live stream. Absolutely, because that needs to be addressed.
Well, and maybe it already was, but like the difference between donated to or on loan to. So that, so that
Well,
the thing
yeah,
like Bob's books doesn't come up again, so that it's
sure.
You also wanted the update on the budget,
Oh,
as I passed around to everybody.
where's the amount there for Bud's new road grader? He's sitting there. I know that's why he's here.
I believe, Councilman Anthony, you've gotten off topic. But I see Buddy over there, he's rooting me on, so.
I'm sure I can pick one up from Walmart in that kids section for you.
There you go. In the kids section. Make sure it's metal, not plastic.
Didn't say how big it had to be.
Anything else that we need, library? Are we ready to move to?
I got one question. Does anybody know if they are stating that the fundraising is for the library or if they're doing it for PALS? Because I have some people saying that it's been for the library. So, go ahead, Bud.
See, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I'm not against them.
Mhm.
That would be almost like me going out, doing a raffle for the maintenance department, representing the town, like town, getting something donated, instance, a grader, okay? And then I peel out of there. Do I have the right to take that grader? I mean, same thing down there. I mean,
No, that's how I say these questions need to be answered because it happened fast with no questions answered.
Is it
In my
similar to passing the boot for the fire department? When the fire department does a fundraiser, so I don't, you guys might remember this. If the fire department does it go to Shoshoni Fire or does it go to Fremont County Protection District?
Well, I don't know. When we did the boot before, it was earmarked for a specific thing that had to be spent on that.
In Shoshoni versus, 'cause I know we've had some stuff, if somebody writes a check to Shoshoni Fire Department that doesn't exist or something, it goes to, I'm just wondering if there's any similarity as far as misrepresentation, or if someone says, well, no, I gave this to, we got a box of cookies not long ago and the Girl Scouts are doing that, and the people were very adamant, these go to the Shoshoni firefighters that were out on this wreck that day right now, versus giving it to, if they wrote a check or something, it would go to Fremont County and then they're supposed to allocate it.
It's a similar thing. Way back in the dark ages, people used to donate money to the fire department that they thought was going to buy equipment or whatever. And I drank some of that up. I ate some prime rib too. Bud's going, like, yeah. People got mad. They really did. So yeah, you have to be clear what it's going to be used for.
When you work your buttons off selling stuff, Gary, do you realize it's going to the palace or to the library?
It goes through the valves. And what valves has done through the last 8 years or so is if the town budget didn't have enough money, and an example was, excuse me, the copier, the black copier, okay? When Wanda first, excuse me, when Wanda first took over, there was not enough money left in the town budget
library or for PAL.
So Pal still owns it? I don't
They
think that's
still
right.
represent the
Just I
library.
don't. That's my opinion.
Yeah, personally, I've always thought if I was donating to PALS was representing the library, and they were gonna use it for the library, nothing else.
I do too. That's under the impression I've always been.
But it sounds like they have though. I don't wanna, sounds like they have, they just been lending it to the library instead of giving it. I mean, it's perception, whatever you want, but I mean, so it's been to the benefit of the library.
You might consider, it almost sounds like the blood drive, I heard you talking earlier, so you give blood. I think Buddy said something along those lines. If I give blood, I expect it to be injected to someone down the road versus how much blood is, right, or thrown away or didn't qualify but the impression is I just gave of myself and it needs to go to good use instead of,
Yes, but I wish. the-
oh, sure, but like I said, if they have it would be much more legalistic on there as far as they have their, if you want to read the fine print while you're sitting there, go ahead, but otherwise.
There, it comes to communication, is it my fault because I didn't ask about it, or is it their fault for not telling me? I don't know.
Well,
But
and
if-
I think most of the
Trans-
communities under the impression Pals is there to help the library, not to own help the library. Yeah.
Well, it puts a whole lot of harm all at once when you just take things out.
Yeah. It does. Right, yes.
I mean, it's like, boom. Okay, if you're there to help the library, do it gradually. If you want to take it back, give the town time to go ahead and replace things. But to just go in there and grab everything because there's changes happening, not closures, just changes. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I thought it was for the library, not the librarian. But let's go on. Been beating a dead horse here, I got a feeling.
Yeah.
But I hope PALS continues to contribute to the library.
I do too, but I mean.
I think they probably
some
cleared it up,
rules.
yes. No. We're down to I, correct? Last one?
Oh, we already
We
Discuss
figured
beat
that out.
that one up pretty
We've already
good.
got that. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be the first time I've missed one. Skipped over one, not intentional. Yeah, not intentional.
I don't know how we all skipped over that motion that was on.
Yeah, I don't know either, but we did. I'm as guilty as everybody.
We can kill it next meeting.
There's at least 3 of us are be classified as senior citizens here.
That hurt.
I think. Anyway, we have anything else, the for the betterment of the town? I know we don't have anything in here, but I think it's my latitude to ask for that.
We can't. This is a special meeting. Only thing we can discuss.
It's not a special, it's not a special meeting.
Yeah, it's a work.
It's a
a workshop.
It's,
Okay, working.
it's a workshop. If it was a special meeting, yeah, we've
Oh,
already
yeah.
talked about some things that wouldn't went on.
Yeah.
Correct, Ron?
We're good.
Okay, I just,
Or I'm good.
yeah.
I am.
I just want to make sure we're not, give everybody an opportunity. Like I said, it's not really comfortable in the audience. I'll give you an opportunity also.
Oh, I do have a question. Everybody's, you always have one. Where do we go from here with Mindy's sales pitch for the dumpsters? We want to entertain that offer, or how? I'm just
We'll
curious.
talk about, we bring that up the next regular scheduled council.
That's
meeting.
okay,
If you-
yeah.
If you like, put it on the meeting.
Or all business.
Yeah, you can put it on, you can
Yeah.
schedule it on get a hold of Chris,
Oh, while we're speaking of that, so in the process of trying to refine standards, all the requests, make sure we don't have anything missed on the agenda. If we can get it Thursday, we'll return to Thursday by 1 o'clock. And that way there's no ambiguity with something not having enough time to be posted, or I post agenda and then something wants to be added after the fact. That's how it used to be, I guess, going back. It's Thursday by 1 o'clock. So just more return to norm, but I think that prescriptive aspect. And then if there's any questions, I'll make sure I follow up for clarification before that time frame. And that way I will have it posted every day, or at least sent out to the council by Friday at 5 o'clock.
Sure. Yeah.
And just try to streamline things so it's not, when it's going to be there. It just follows the same procedure every week.
Well, it's easier to drop by here and ask you a question than have to ask at the meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that way, if there's anything to be clarified, there's plenty of time to do so.
And we'll also try to be pretty specific on the agenda, what actually that you're wanting. If we feel that the question's too broad, we may try to get a more direct question. There again, just like when you're talking about the executive session, trying to get more descriptive would be the same.
Sure.
The same thing. And the time to do it for us, for this would be prior to posting.
Sure. And that's on me. That wasn't really an issue for the council, but I was trying to leave it open because I know, some council work and things like that. They get home Friday night, maybe want something on there, but in trying to leave it more friendly for council to be able to add things, I think it added to it, actually created a problem with that. So by doing it this way, I think that would help solidify that and codify that process.
And Chris and I've been down here Sunday working on it. But, anyway, if I have nothing else, I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being present, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:23.
Thank you for voting. Thank you.